You think you know Deadpool? Well, here's some things you didn't know about the Merc with a Mouth's solo film.
Yeah, well, you gotta do something to remedy this, because as of now, you only have one course of action.
Damn straight. Find
Star
Francis.
in horror films.
What?
Star in your own horror films. Because you look like Freddy Krueger face the topographical map of Utah.
Deadpool was filmed in 48 days on a budget of $58 million, an incredibly small budget for a superhero movie. For comparison, Guardians of the Galaxy had a $232 million budget, and Captain America Civil War had a budget of $250 million. However, despite this, Deadpool became the first R-rated movie to open in the US at over $100 million. Despite Deadpool's massive appeal, China refused to allow the film to grace its theaters. The film was deemed too profane, violent, and sexual. While editing around the offending scenes was technically plausible, it was not feasible, and it would have made for a very disjointed and nonsensical film. China ultimately barred the film.
So, I'm gonna give you a chance for y'all to lay down your firearms in exchange for preferential, bordering on gentle, possibly even lover-like treatment.
Originally, the Deadpool costume had false muscles underneath to make Ryan Reynolds look more like the part of Deadpool. However, Reynolds was already so muscular, the suit became comically thick and bulky, and the false muscles had to be removed. That dude's just too buff.
Looks on everything.
Looks are everything. You ever heard David Beckham speak? It's like he mouth-sexed a can of helium.
Deadpool came to fruition because of a short 3-minute test reel that was filmed in 2012. The short was meant to convince studio heads to greenlight the film. In 2014, the footage was released to the public to much fanfare. The response was so overwhelmingly positive that the studio pushed the film to production. The demo reel was even recreated and featured in the film. Before the film was officially released, Ryan Reynolds had fun teasing fans with the film's MPAA rating, which was a point of contention as rumors alleged that 20th Century Fox was aiming for a PG-13 release in order to draw larger audiences. Fans didn't want the Deadpool they had grown to love in the comics be watered down for more commercial appeal. On April Fool's Day 2015, Reynolds took to Twitter and announced that the film would indeed be PG-13. However, several hours later, Reynolds admitted that it was a joke and confirmed that the film was to be rated R.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s. Dad?
Reynolds revealed in a talk with Google that the character of Dopinder the taxi driver was named after a kid he knew in elementary school who died when he was struck by lightning. Reynolds felt it would be a small homage to the kid he once knew. While filming Blade Trinity in 2004, a studio executive approached Reynolds and told him he was convinced Ryan Reynolds was supposed to play Deadpool, and the executive gave Reynolds some Deadpool comics to read. Reynolds was not particularly into comics at the time, but decided to give them a read. In retrospect, Reynolds has said, quote, "I'm not a big comic book guy, but I really gravitated toward Deadpool. I fell in love with Deadpool. The first issue I opened up, I'm not making this up, I was on the panel. I look like a cross between Ryan Reynolds and a Shar-Pei, and I was thinking, Jesus, this is f***ing destiny."
Tell me where your f***ing boss is, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes!
Reynolds has been overt in stating that Deadpool is the last superhero character he will ever play. However, that doesn't bar him from playing Deadpool in subsequent films and cameo appearances. Both actors who play Colossus in the film, Andrei Tikotov as stand-in and Stephen Kopicek as voice, are extremely tall. Tikotov is 6'8" and Kopicek is 6'4". In the comics, Colossus is supposed to be 6'6" in his regular form and 7'5" in his metallic form. Tikotov wore 8-inch heels on set to bring him closer to Colossus' true height. In order to avoid making Colossus look too chrome as he did in previous films, the visual effects team visited a metallurgy company and took stock of the different steel types there are. The team settled on hot-rolled steel for Colossus' hair and cold-rolled steel for his skin. Ryan Reynolds was technically allowed to have the Deadpool costume once filming wrapped, only because no one had the opportunity to take it from him, and they just didn't ask. And here's a bonus one. While Deadpool was still being written by Rhett Reese, both David Fincher and James Cameron read over the script. Both directors urged Fox to move forward with the film. According to Reese, about 70% of the script Cameron and Fincher read ended up making into the final version of the film.
Childhood.
Rougher than yours. Daddy left before I was born.
Daddy left before I was conceived.
Ever had a cigarette put out on your skin?
Where else do you put one out?
I was molested.
Me too. Uncle.
Uncles. They took turns.
I watched my own birthday party through the keyhole of a locked closet, which also happens to be
Your
my
bedroom. Lucky, I slept in a dishwasher box.
You had a dishwasher.
That's it for this episode of You Think You Know Movies. Make sure to subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and get the latest movie and TV news on ScreenCrush.com.